Hi there. I'm Janet Chandler with the Cullman Tribune, and I'm here to read you a bedtime story. I'm going to read you a story tonight called Tom Thumb. I remember hearing this story when I was little, which was a very long time ago. Once upon a time, a poor farmer and his wife were sitting glumly by the fire when suddenly there was a knock at the door. An old man in rags appeared in their doorway. Bent over a walking stick, he asked the couple if they could spare some food to eat. The kind farmer led the old man to the fire to warm himself, while his wife brought him something to eat. The old man sensed that the couple was sad and asked them what was the trouble. "We hoped for children, but we have none. We'd be so happy if we had just one, even if he were no bigger than my husband's thumb," said the farmer's wife. The next day, the old man thanked the couple for showing him such kindness and continued on his way. What the farmer and his wife didn't know was that the old man was really a magician in disguise who had secretly granted their wish. Soon after meeting the old man, the woman had a child who was perfect in every way, but there was one difference that really set him apart. He was no bigger than a thumb. "He must be what we wished for," the wife said. The happy couple named their tiny son Tom Thumb. Tom was so small that his parents were always afraid that something terrible would happen to him. One day, when his mother was busy making a cake, Tom accidentally slipped and fell into the bowl of cake batter. Unaware, Tom's mother stirred him into the cake and popped everything in the oven to bake. Tom shrieked. Hearing his cries, his mother snatched him out of the oven just in time. Worried that her son might have another mishap inside the house, Tom's mother sent him outside to play. After playing for some time, Tom grew tired and made his way toward a comfortable-looking spot on the hay. He crept onto the haystack and nestled in for a nap. Tom's father didn't know he was fast asleep in the hay when he picked up an armful and fed it to the cows. "Ah!" screamed Tom, waking up. "It's dark and wet in here. Let me out." Tom's father was shocked to hear the cows speak. As he listened carefully, he recognized his son's voice and pried open the cow's mouth. There was Tom. His father was relieved to see that his tiny son was still whole and set him on an acorn to dry. Tom felt very, very small. He tried to think of a way he could show his parents that he was big enough to take care of himself. Just then, a bird swooped down and snatched him right up off the ground. When the bird realized it wasn't carrying a field mouse, it immediately dropped Tom, and he plummeted down toward a forbidding castle overlooking the sea. Just as Tom was about to crash onto the castle's terrace, a hideous one-eyed ogre appeared and caught him in the palm of his huge hand. The monstrous beast held Tom up to his eye and examined him closely. Then the ogre gulped him down like a pill. Tom had to think fast so that he wouldn't be digested. He began to jump up and down inside the ogre's belly. The ogre had a terrible bellyache and became so uncomfortable that he spat Tom straight out into the sea. Tom landed in the water with a splash. As he sank down toward the sandy bottom, a great speckled fish opened its mouth and swallowed him whole. Some passing fishermen caught the fish and decided to present it to the king. When the fishermen presented their catch to the king, Something could be seen wriggling inside the fish. Suddenly, out of the fish's mouth popped Tom Thumb. The king was so delighted with his small gift that he made Tom his court jester. Tom's rags were immediately replaced with fine velvet robes. The king carried Tom in his pocket everywhere he went, taking him on hunting trips and to royal balls. Everyone was charmed by the king's tiny companion. The king grew very fond of Tom. He even had a tiny replica of his own bed made for him. It was placed in the royal chambers right next to the king's bed. One evening, at a royal feast, Tom overheard two attendants of the king's royal court plotting to rob the king. Tom was quick on his feet. He approached them and whispered, "I am also tired of entertaining the king and would like to help you with your plan. I sleep in the same bedchamber as the king and can easily steal the key that unlocks the royal treasury. But you must promise me a third of all of the riches you find." "What a perfect plan," said one of the attendants. The two swindlers quickly agreed with Tom's offer and told him to bring the key to them at midnight. That evening, when the king was sound asleep, Tom slipped out of his little bed and carefully climbed up the king's bedpost where his royal robes hung. Tom tried pulling the key out from one of the robe's pockets, but it was much too heavy. He pulled with all his might until both he and the key flew backward onto the floor. Thankfully, the key landed on top of Tom without waking the king. Hauling the key with all his strength, Tom snuck out of the royal bedchamber, through the hallway, and up the tower steps past a sleeping cat. It was quite a way for such a small boy. At last, he reached the treasury door, where the two schemers anxiously awaited the key. When they saw Tom, they grabbed the key from him and hastily opened the treasury door. When they swung open the door, the royal attendants were very surprised by what they saw. The room was filled with the king's guards. They were caught red-handed. Tom had alerted the guards of the royal attendants' devious plot to rob the king. He felt that it was best not to tell the king right away until the thieves were caught and thrown into the castle's dungeon. When he learned of Tom's valiant deed, the king ordered that a special ceremony be held in Tom's honor. When asked if there were any special guests that he would like to invite, Tom named his parents. "And so it shall be done," announced the king. A royal coach was sent to pick up Tom's mother and father, who were dressed in fine robes and jewels. They watched proudly as their son Tom was knighted for his bravery. From that day forward, Sir Tom Thumb and his parents lived happily and comfortably at the royal palace. The end. Good night and sweet dreams.